I was getting paid something like $3.50 per hour.
That was back early 2021 was $6 an hour.
So now I'm a Monday Solutions Architect. It's a completely different industry and significantly upgraded from the initial rate.
When I started, remote work has definitely increased significantly. I decided to take a risk. I decided to apply for a job that was totally outside of my comfort zone.
Yeah, it was awesome. I just got the message that, hey, you got a raise, and yeah, happy days. With my client and with Coconut, I was able to kind of get multiple raises within the first year. Hi, I'm Noel Decangchon, and I'm a Monday Solutions Architect.
My name is Chris Armenta. I am an account manager for a venture studio for a US client that does software startups coming out of university and hospital systems.
When I started out, I was a general admin assistant for a real estate networking website in the United States. I was doing technical support, community management, webinar support, and marketing. Back then, that was in 2015, I was getting paid something like $3.50 per hour. That was back in 2015, around almost 9 years ago. Yeah.
I used to work for a real estate company that does publishing for agents and agencies. I was the customer success lead for that company, and my rate before, that was back early 2021, was $6 an hour. At the moment, I am an account manager for a venture studio. I manage relationships with different technology transfer offices that we work with. I also run the discover team, wherein I take products through our initial product discovery process. So aside from that, I also manage some day-to-day admin tasks that are pretty common.
So now I'm a Monday Solutions Architect. It's a completely different industry and significantly upgraded from the initial rate.
My rate compared to when I started remote work has definitely increased significantly.
To be able to reach the specific rate I have now, it was constant upskilling. Really, one of the things that I learned early on was really listening and just learning from your mentors or your bosses, right? So learning the business, taking your own time to just figure out how things work. And one thing I did a lot before was I had access to webinars because my boss hosted webinars. So I would constantly listen to him. And around 2 years of that happening, he was so surprised that I had learned the CRM that we were using or that he was teaching the agents about. And from there, because of that surprise, I was kind of moved into management positions and training other VAs. And really, that's it. It's just my constant need to learn, or my constant want to kind of learn new things that got me upskilled naturally.
So one of the things that I did, and I think it was one of the best decisions that I made, was I decided to take a risk. I decided to apply for a job that was totally outside of my comfort zone. It was a job that was totally unknown for me. Like, I've spent 10 plus years in the BPO industry. I'm very comfortable with everything BPO related. But when I saw a post about product management and research, that was totally different, but the description seemed exciting enough for me to give it a shot. And I think that was one of the main contributors as far as being able to raise the rate from where I started. Another thing probably is I leveraged a lot on AI tools. I started learning how to use common AI tools like ChatGPT and others out there to make my work more efficient, more effective, and a better quality output.
Yeah, absolutely. As far as skills, Coconut provides a lot of training that you can easily attend. They always send out messages through channels about things that you can upskill on. You can always ask your client if you can join these calls or maybe listen in on them while you're working. As far as upgrading the rates, it was actually just so smooth. I never even had to talk to my client about upgrading my rates. Coconut would always reach out on my behalf. And yeah, it was awesome. I just got the message that, hey, you got a raise. And yeah, happy days.
I'd say Coconut contributed a lot in terms of not only just growth, but also in terms of financials. I remember before when I applied with Coconut, one of the things that was asked during the interview process with one of the co-founders was like, how much was I getting paid before when I was still in the BPO industry? So I did show how much I was getting, and the answer was fairly simple and straightforward. One of the co-founders told me that his goal is to be able to provide a salary that matches or even exceeds what I was getting before in the BPO industry. So I was pretty happy about that, but I was even happier when that came to reality.
Yeah, it was an absolute surprise because I didn't expect the client to give me a raise so early into the position because of my kind of 8 years in the industry. I always expected that it might be 6 months or 1 year, but with my client and with Coconut, I was able to kind of get multiple raises within the first year, and yeah, it was a surprise each time, right? You never really expect your clients to be this good and Coconut to be this, or your support staff to be this rabid in terms of following up for those kinds of things. So yeah, it was always a surprise.
I was super excited. I never expected it to happen because I know there are a lot of dependencies in terms of compensation for a remote worker. So I wasn't really expecting much. I was actually just settling for a rate that I thought was fair, but I got way more than it. So not only was I motivated, I also saw the side of things wherein there's definitely something to explore and pursue in the remote working industry. And I say that with all honesty because I started in the industry with a lot of doubts and a lot of uncertainty. And I was one of those folks who would usually say that remote work industry is probably not going to be a long-term thing, or it's probably not gonna pay much. So I was wrong, definitely wrong.
As far as joining Coconut, I think newbies should first identify their skills. What are they good at? What are their specialties? And of course, once you've identified those specialties, then you kind of have to figure out, what industry you might want to work in, or you're based off of your previous experience, where are you good at?
At the same time, knowing what your areas for improvements are allows you to see the gaps that you have and what those things are that you have to improve on in order for you to increase your value in the market.
When the business grows, you grow with it, and it's just analogous that your rate goes up with it, right? So you have to treat it as your own business to make sure that the client's business grows and your professional career grows with it.